What's going on, everyone? So, the Los Angeles Lakers desperately need a center, right? They need somebody, whether you're slotting him alongside Anthony Davis or you're bringing him to back up Anthony Davis. Jackson Hayes, he's opted in. You have Christian Wood. Those two guys are more likely than not going to be enough this year to really kind of have the impact at the center position that the Lakers really need, right? Now, obviously, if they put together this like ridiculous team and have Klay Thompson and like DeMar DeRozan and all this stuff, like maybe it's kind of like, well, at that point you just need a serviceable center. You have so much talent, but still it would be nice to kind of have at least a center that you can throw out there and kind of bang with the big boys, right? You don't need some star center. You don't need a Joel Embiid or anything like that. Just a guy that can come in, give you, 10 to 15 minutes a game off the bench, can play alongside Anthony Davis on occasion, can back up Anthony Davis, right? The idea is to also kind of play AD more at the 4, but the problem is the well is drying up very quickly for the Lakers. The two biggest prospects for the Lakers to sign in free agency are both gone. So Andre Drummond is returning to the Philadelphia 76ers, which, by the way, the Sixers are like really just kind of stocking up already. They're already signing a bunch of pieces and stuff. But the 76ers signed Andre Drummond to 2 years, $10 million deal with the second year a player option. Now, Andre Drummond got more than what his market has been the last few years. He's basically been a vet minimum guy. Now he's getting about $5 million a year over the 2 years with the 76ers. It's not good, right? Andre Drummond would have been excellent off the bench. It's not the end of the world to lose Andre Drummond, but he was a guy that made a lot of sense, has familiarity with the Lakers. Right? He's a guy that is one of the best rebounders in the game at the center position, especially on the offensive side of the glass. He was a guy that really could have been a nice contributor. Not really give you much on the defensive side or the scoring side, but again, you're just looking for a guy to come in, basically gobble up as many boards as he can, be a lob threat. Whatever he's giving you on the offensive side is just an added piece. Again, it's not a huge blow. It's not like, oh man, the Lakers didn't get Andre Drummond, now what? No, it's not that significant, but he would have been a very, again, solid contributor that could have went a long way for the Lakers on the cheap, right? Because the Lakers, they're not looking to sign a big man right now with the, full mid-level exception. They're looking to get a guy like a Klay Thompson or a DeMar DeRozan or somebody like that. Now, there are talks of Giannis Valancunus, right, that he could potentially come to the Lakers with that mid-level exception until the Washington Wizards, yes, the Washington Wizards signed the big man to a 3-year, $30 million deal. That one hurts. Giannis Valancunus is the guy that, at the center position, that I wanted kind of the most as far as free agents go. Now, I don't know if he would have been the best answer at the mid-level exception, but if you could have got him, the big talk was like the taxpayer mid-level. Now, Giannis Valanciunas might have looked at it as like, well, if I wait around, I'm 32 years old, I'm not going to have this huge market. The Lakers use their mid-level exception for a Klay Thompson, somebody like that, right? Then I'm now the odd man out. And what, am I going to play for a vet minimum? So clearly it looks like, Valanciunas, he went and took the bag, the team, the money that he could get now rather than waiting and seeing. Like, okay, what are my other options, right? Because if, the Lakers go and sign a Klay Thompson or go sign a DeMar DeRozan or something like that, well then, there goes the possibility of signing Valanciunas outside of a vet minimum. So he might have looked at it as like, well, I don't really have other options. He wants the bag. So he chose the money over potentially winning because he would have been a huge asset. His ability, he could stretch the floor a little bit. Again, another excellent rebounder. Doesn't give you much on the defensive side. But again, you're talking about cheap centers, right? You're not talking about these huge, impact centers that you're paying $20 million a year or whatever for, right? This is just a guy that's a big boy that come in and bang with, the Jokic's and the Embiids of the world. Kind of take some pressure off Anthony Davis. It's also a guy that'll give you nearly a double-double on good efficiency. He could also make plays. That's something else that I think is very undervalued in, Valanciunas' game, is his ability to make plays. But now he's gone, right? He's off the board. So now what if you're the Lakers? Well, now you're basically on just the trade market, right? I mean, that's where you're at this point because, you know, yes, you could sign some, there's other like lower end vet minimum centers, but none of them are really like the big bodies you'd be looking for that are necessarily, maybe they're slightly better over, Jackson Hayes or whatever, but they're not what you're looking for. Now, maybe if you're the Lakers, you kind of trust Colin Castleton. Do you just go with Colin Castleton and see if like maybe he's the guy that can handle it and maybe he's the guy that you can kind of have because he's got the big frame and the big body? Yeah, I mean, that's always a possibility, but again, it's just now you're banking on essentially a rookie. I know he's been with the Lakers organization for a couple of years, but he hasn't really had a role. So you're basically looking at a rookie to come in and have a big impact in that backup role. I don't know. I don't know if that's the best course of action. So outside of that, you're looking at the trade market, which all the available centers right now are all kind of overpriced, right? I mean, you're talking Brook Lopez, who there were reports earlier today that the Lakers were interested in. Well, Brook Lopez is making, $23 million a year, something like that. And then you add in Clint Capella, he's making like $20 million a year. So all of these guys are just making a ton of money, and you'd have to trade multiple pieces. You'd have to trade 1, 2, 3 pieces to potentially go and land a Valancunus or Clint Capella. I just don't think that that's the best course of action for the Lakers. It's just you're kind of in this tough spot, this kind of rock in a hard place type spot. But they're waiting around for Klay, right? Like all signs are just waiting around for Klay Thompson, right? What is Klay going to do? He's going to be the first domino to fall. If Klay chooses the Lakers, boom, you're going to see all these moves by the Lakers. If Klay chooses somebody else, now the Lakers have to kind of recalibrate. It kind of feels like, the Kawhi Leonard situation all over again. Lakers waited for Kawhi. Difference is Kawhi Leonard is very different than, especially at that point in time. You're talking about he was arguably, a top 3 player in the league at that point, and arguably the best two-way player in the league at that point. So you're talking about a guy that was like in his prime at the time. But it kind of feels like that. Lakers waited around. You saw all these bodies kind of being that could have been very helpful and impactful all kind of fall off. The rest of the league and a lot of free agents were kind of at a standstill, luckily, which is kind of what's happening right now with Paul George and Klay and all these things. And then, that first domino fell. Kawhi ends up going to the Clippers, and then boom, you just see the Lakers get all these moves. I'm hoping that that's kind of the situation here, right? Look, I like Klay a lot. And it is day one of free agency, right? And there hasn't been a ton of moves. I mean, most of the things that have happened today are all things that we expected. James Harden sticking with the Clippers, right? Like things like that. Now, there were a couple like KCP going to Orlando, I think is huge for the Lakers, right? There's all these like little things, but for the most part, nothing major has really happened. It's the first day. So I'm not saying like the Lakers have to run out and do all this stuff, but you're seeing a lot of guys that would have made sense for the Lakers outside of Klay Thompson all going in other directions, and particularly the center position. Lakers are in trouble in that regard, and it's like, who do you get now? Are you really going to, trade for a center? And if so, who's that? Can you get now that, Charlotte or not Charlotte, the Wizards signed Valancunus and brought him in, right? Like, what are they trying to do? Obviously, they're trying to get him to help him with SAR and stuff. But, or can you go talk to Charlotte, since I mentioned Charlotte? Go talk to Charlotte about, like, Nick Richards or something. Like, it's just, got to figure something out, right? But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. It's a little frustrating. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Are you frustrated that the Lakers missed out on Andre Drummond? Are you frustrated they lost on Jonas Valancunus? Are you okay with it? Like, it's fine. What do you think the Lakers should do? Should they just trust, Colin Castleton, have him come in? Do you go with Jackson Hayes for another year? Do you go and work out the trade market, right? And, do you want a Brook Lopez or a Clint Capella, or, maybe you can figure out another one of these. Walker Kessler, maybe, right? It's another guy I didn't mention that maybe that is cheap contract-wise. Just like what type of assets would you have to attach to go get somebody like that, right? Like these are all just interesting questions, but you got to get a center, right? Lakers, no matter what they end up doing, they got to get a center. And, you know, you're seeing a lot of these guys that could have been very helpful. I mean, even Chris Paul went to the Spurs, which good for the Spurs. I think that's huge for San Antonio. But for the Lakers, like, you know, they might even be in the market for a point guard coming up, and you just missed out on that. So just things to keep in mind. But anyway, again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.